Hello, my name's Andrew Suey. Jason invited me onto his podcast today. We've been good friends since high school, and I always watch his podcast. I asked him if it would be all right for me to come on today and talk to his wonderful viewers about something that I am very passionate about, and that is the possibility of life on other planets, how it could exist out there, where it might be at, the possibility of life actually existing just within our solar system, and new advances in technology that are going to help us reach out to these beings if they are out there and that may help us find them. Have you ever just sat up late at night and wondered how small you really are in all of the whole universe? It's a really scary thing to think about, and sometimes when you get really deep in your head, it can be really scary. My name's Andrew Suey, and I'm here on Jason's podcast today to talk about possibility of life on places other than Earth. Space is limitless, and as far as we have ventured so far, no other life forms have been discovered. However, this does not mean that there aren't other living beings out there. It just means that we as a planet haven't been able to find them yet because of the lack of advancements in technology. If we use just our solar system as an example, there are many planets and many moons that can support life, but do not have life existing on them that we've found yet. These planets have the necessary water or oxygen levels in which humans or other beings could survive for long periods of time. Many moons and planets just within our solar system have had traces of water or oxygen or other chemical compounds on it. For example, Mars. Uh, this doesn't mean that Mars has life on it because we haven't found life on Mars yet. Obviously, the Mars rover it was there for an extremely long time before being shut down, I think last year. Um, and no life was found on Mars. However, there are some very interesting things on Mars, like water. There's oxygen on Mars. There is the potential for human life to exist on Mars. Um, there are other moons in our solar system as well, like Europa, which is one of Jupiter's moons. It also has vast oceans and gravity, very similar to our gravity and oceans here on Earth. However, no missions have been flown directly onto the surface of the moon, mainly because we don't have the technology yet to be able to access the planet like how we are on Mars. Um, but missions have been flown over the moon, and a lot of pictures have been taken, and we have been able to collect a few samples from the air. Um, Enceladus and Titan are two of Saturn's moons that could potentially harbor life forms as well. There have been 150 missions that have flown by the two moons combined over the past 30 to 40 years, but no life has been detected as of yet. There have been 27 missions that flew past Enceladus and 123 that have flown past Titan in order to collect imaging and see what the surface of the moons look like. Enceladus specifically had a water vapor in the air, a salty reservoir, and organic compounds that could have been caused by life forms, or they could have also just occurred naturally, but we're not sure yet. There are other planets that could sustain our lives or other life forms, but these other life forms may also be able to exist on planets that don't have oxygen. So, for example, they may be able to live in a place without oxygen by adapting to whatever chemical compounds are in the air. Due to the amount of inhabitable planets and moons within just our solar system, it is very likely to assume that in the entire universe, which is filled with solar systems, that other life forms probably exist out there, although we haven't been able to find them yet. Unfortunately, we do not have the technology to access these distant places yet. We have been able to find water or traces of water on a lot of planets, such as Mars, Enceladus, Titan, which has great, like giant oceans underneath, icy sheets on top of the planet. Um, as we progress further into the future with technology, we're going to be able to send devices down there to collect samples or break through the ice and see what exists underneath. Some technological advancements have been made, and an example of those is telescopes that will be in space. They're going to be launching sometime this year, and the Hubble telescope is going to be in space, and it'll be in between the Earth, the Moon, and the Sun's gravitational pull. So it will take images of planets and moons in not only our solar system, but on other planets and moons in other solar systems that can be reached. Some other advancements that NASA is making is developing rovers for these other moons and planets that will be able to access some of them and take images from directly on the surface of the planets or moons. But they haven't officially finished them yet. But some scientists believe that by 2025, they may be able to send these rovers onto other moons or planets to access them. Another theory on life on places other than Earth is the whole Area 51 alien debacle. Now, there are many stories of UFOs and unexplained natural landmarks that can only be traced to higher beings. For example, the pyramids and Stonehenge. Uh, a lot of people spend their entire lives researching uh, things like the pyramids and how they were built because there wasn't available technology back then in order to build some pyramids like that insanely large. Um, so a lot of people, a lot of conspiracists, um, spend their entire lives just researching UFOs and aliens just based off of those pyramids because it is really interesting because they didn't have that type of technology back then. And there's many incredible stories of UFOs and unexplained things like people disappearing after researching UFOs and things their whole lives. So a lot of people believe that people from Area 51 come around and take all of their research and just kill them off, basically. So it is something really scary to think about. There's a lot of great articles online about people disappearing after claiming to see a UFO or doing research on other types of beings. I hope that this has at least made you think a little bit about how life could and probably does exist on other planets of the universe. We're not alone out here, and it is important that as a planet we continue to search for other forms of intelligent life out there. Uh, I believe that life exists in places other than Earth due to sufficient resources on other planets and moons. It's very likely that there could be forms of life hidden underneath some of the surfaces of these planets. We must continue as a planet to develop new means of trying to access these other beings as they are out there. They might even be searching for us as well, so who knows? They could find us before we find them. It's a scary thing to think about, but we're definitely not alone in this universe. Thank you.